Here we go!
Hello everyone, it's me, Savi, and whoo boy, we got some fresh JOJO news right here, and I'm so hyped, honestly, like, no kidding. This video is gonna be about the recent announcement of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R, which is gonna be a remaster of the PlayStation 3 fighting game. It's obviously gonna be unscripted, because I want to just talk in the most natural way possible, and also share my thoughts with you guys without like sneaking in some jokes, like a natural talk with you and me about JoJo. Now, this game right here, oh my god, I've been waiting for so long to play this, because this game is not only really as expensive, but it's very hard to find as well. And now with these remake, remaster, I don't know how the fuck to call it, but we will have a new way to play this game on all current platforms. So when I say all of them, I mean all of them. Nintendo Switch, PS4, PS5, Steam, then all the Xbox consoles, those with the weird names. Finally. Now, obviously this is not going to be just a simple port. They changed a few things, such as the voice actors. They're gonna be the new ones, because when this game came out, it was crazy old, and we didn't have all the JoJo animated parts. We just had part 1 and 2, if I recall correctly. Now, that was the thing, right? Now we have all the new voice actors, like Fairy's AI, the Daisuke Ono, everybody. I'm probably butchering the names of everybody here, but we have all the new voice actors from the anime. And speaking of anime stuff, we also have the anime color scheme, which is amazing, but I personally hope that like we'll get some a toggle or some costumes that come from the manga, so that we can have both the anime colors and the manga colors, so we don't feel too obligated to follow these schemes. Now we also have a tag team system, which looks very good, and I personally hope for like something like Eyes of Heaven, where the two characters, like two specific characters, would have a special move of them interacting. That would be very cool. Maybe like Joseph and Caesar, Guido, Mista, and Giorno Giovanna, you know, the classics. Or maybe even Jolene and Giorno. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes of the trailer. The last part that showed that 50 characters are going to be available at launch for the game. Are we gonna have some DLC? I don't know, but the very important thing is that we have 50 different characters, and we know that we're getting some new ones, because the original game had 42 characters, so we have 9 different characters to choose from. You may say, Savvy, it's 8 characters, not 9. Well, we may be getting one character out of this whole JoJo party thing, because the character Bao from the original PS3 game probably got cut, because it isn't in the trailers, he isn't in the website, and it would be weird to treat him as a new character, so I think that he got completely cut, which is very sad, to be honest. So we have 9 characters to go, 41 that we already know of, 2 characters that got leaked in the website, and other 7 ones that we can guess. Now, who are the confirmed characters through the websites? They're both from Part 5 and are Trish Una and Prosciutto. Now, sorry for the weird pronunciation, but this is actually how this word is pronounced. It's pronounced prosciutto, not prosciutto, but I'm going to name him Prosciutto, not to upset the Western fans. No. Now, these 2 characters are very interesting. They both come from Part 5, as I said, and Trish and Prosciutto have very weird stands. Trish can make things rubbery and soft, and Prosciutto can make people age. How are they going to work in a fighting game is the main question here, but I don't know. Power to the creators, to the developers. they are going to make something interesting. But seeing Trish reminds me of something. The UI shows us that Trish is going to use the same artwork from Eyes of Heaven. Is that a coincidence? I don't think so. I think that they're going to reuse some stuff from Eyes of Heaven, because if I recall, they use the same engine, both All-Star Battle and Eyes of Heaven. So in these predictions here, and kind of wish list, it's kind of like a wish list predictions, we also have some characters that may be likely. So we'll start off with the Big Bang, the biggest character and best character of them all in this list, Speedwagon. You may be asking why Speedwagon? Because he's Speedwagon. He's very well known outside of the JOJO community. He's loved by the fans. He's a very important character in the story, and he also has a very, very good moveset potential. For example, you could throw the hat or be a puppeteer character using the different Ogre Street people as attacks. Like, they would come in on screen maybe from the background and attack the player, or just him alone using his hat and the armor from part 3. I don't know why I said part 3. I mean part 1. Imagine like Speedwagon with a giant ass hammer smashing Dio. That would be very fun. Now, the second character in this list is Stroheim. Both him and Speedwagon are in Eyes of Heaven, so they already have the animations, the models, the voice clips, so you know, they're very likely. Stroheim would also be very good, a little bit controversial because he's a Nazi, but he's the best character. Like, no cap. He's the best. He is literally half a cyborg and half a man. He's a German soldier with like that always screams and has a very strong personality. So he's very cool, and I would love to see him with maybe even some UV light attacks, but now that I think about it, that would be a little bit too OP. Let's move on and get to part 4. And why am I skipping part 3? Am I a part skipper? No, it's just that part 3 already has a shit ton of characters, so I don't think we need more. Because, you know, it's already enough. Like, we could put someone like Raya, or like the Bird, but like, they would just be filler in my opinion. So let's move on to part 4 with Yukako, which strangely is not here. It's not here in the roster, and she would work very well with the hair whip style, like, fighting, because her stand, Love Deluxe, it's not called Love, that's not her stand. Love Deluxe can be very cool. She was in Eyes of Heaven, again, and she would probably have a special attack with Koichi, which would be very wholesome and terrifying. Now, her stand could do a lot of different things, and I genuinely hope that one of the different costumes for Yukako is the white hair version of her when she gets pissed off in the Koichi Boing Boing episode. That's how I call it. Now, for another part 4 character, Keicho, which would be puppeteer character, like Speedwagon. He would have like his stand, Bad Company, that is formed by these little soldiers and tanks and stuff. So my idea is, picture this. Imagine like having him, and then you have something like Lemmings, a lot of characters that like come out of him, and that will be the attack. And maybe they start to shoot. Maybe just 1 or 2 will not do that much damage and can be easily defeated, but a lot of them would do a bunch of damage. So it would be kind of like an Olimar and Pikmin character, similar to that. Now to part 5. We already have 2 characters confirmed, but I have 2 more ideas: Risotto Nero and Abacchio. Now, Abacchio would be very complicated to implement, but he's part of Passione. I mean, he would just make sense as a character. Now, he replays the attacks, and that would be very, 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 very difficult. But if they can make Prosciutto work, they can make Abacchio work. Now, Risotto Nero would be so cool, because not only his design is freaking amazing, but he also has a very badass stand. It is Metallica that can create metal thingies. inside your body and it hurts. You can also like become invisible, and there's like a whole scientific explanation for that. So he could also do that, like if I remember correctly, also Wamu could do that in the fighting game in All-Star Battle. So even Risotto could do that, so add him in. Now for part 6 I have 2 more characters, FF and Weather Report. Weather Report was in Eyes of Heaven. FF wasn't, but I mean she's one of the main characters. She, they, he, I don't know, I'll go with she because she's a girl technically. It's a plankton inside a dead girl, but everybody, I don't know. But FF would be a very interesting character with like the handgun thingy, and maybe could leave the body. as weird as that may sound, it would be very interesting. Now, part 7 is up next, and there's just one character that comes up to mind. It wasn't an All-Star Battle, which is Diego Brando. Now, Diego Brando, which Diego should we choose? We have Scary Monsters Diego and another universe Diego with the time stop. My heart says time stop, my brain says Scary Monsters, because Scary Monsters makes the most sense. Like, it's the stand for Diego. It's very interesting, and it's a wonderful concept that could work very well in a fighting game. But time stop, he's so cool. He does very great poses. He uses knives, which are my favorite way, and my favorite weapon to use during time stop. I love when Dio did that, and so seeing Diego do that again would be very cool. But having another time stop character would feel a little bit too, filler, so that wouldn't make any sense. Now for part 8, this game is all about JOJOs and villains, so seeing the part 8 villain just not being there wouldn't make very much sense. So let's add him. Let's add Toru to the roster. Problem is, Toru would be a fucking zoner, because his stand, the Wonder of You, is literally the closer you get, the stronger the attack will be. So that would be a zoner character. So I don't know how they could make him work, but put him in the game. I don't care if he'll break the comparative scene, just give him a taunt where he gets the headphones and sings the Wonder of You, please. Now, I have 3 more characters to talk about, which are very, very, very much unlikely, because they're more minor characters, but they would have an amazing roster, or in my opinion could be very interesting to see what the developers could do with these characters. Now, part 1 wasn't the longest part out there, and it wasn't the best. But one simple character, in my opinion, should be added to the game. But there would be some problems. Now, let me just explain. Bruford. Why Bruford? Why this unoriginal mini-boss that appears in one small scene, like in one fight, and that's it? Well, because we don't really have Yukako in the roster, like right now, so having Bruford that fights with his hair and a sword would be very good. Problem is, Jonathan already has the Sword of Luck and Pluck, and if Yukako ends up getting in, Bruford will become much more unlikely, because it's literally a combination Dragon Ball style of Jonathan with the Sword of Pluck sword and Yukako. So you see. Now, speaking of Yukako, Mikitaka, also from part 4, would make an amazing character. He's an alien stand user, and that was with a huge question mark, because not even Araki knows if he's an alien or stand user, but he would be amazing because his stand Earth, Wind, and Fire, or Terra Ventus, however you want to call him. It's amazing because it allows Mikitaka to transform into different objects, like dice, shoes, then there was like a book, if I remember correctly. There were a lot of different things that Mikitaka could transform in, and that reminds me a lot of JOJO Heritage for the Future, and that one character... Let me Google it. Okay, right, Midler, which her stand like make sense, because that's literally it. That's it. It's like so smart. It's like Miki Taka's. It can transform into anything. So it would be very fun to see how the developers could like play around with this idea. And now, last but certainly not least, a clone character. Kind of. JOJO from Part 4. I do not want him, but I want him at the same time. Let me explain why. I want JOJO Part 4 as a costume, and I know that if the developers want to, they can make a completely original character. Maybe as a special move he can stop time, with the help of Koichi, he can stop the opponent, and then do a horror rush, just like the manga, the finale of Part 4. And I'm pretty sure that they can do a bunch of other stuff, like him using his hands and throwing those little bullets, like in the rat episode, or even like using fire, like in the Sheer Heart Attack manga episode, chapter thingy. The idea is cool, but I'm very, very, very convinced that the developers will just say, oh, these people want Part 4 JOJO, let's have Part 4 JOJO, and it's just gonna be a clone of JOJO dressed in white, which would be terrible, and Eyes of Heaven had too many clones, so I would love JOJO Part 4 JOJO just if he's a more interesting character. Now, I obviously not covered each and every character that could be in the game. Tell me down below what you think of this, what are the characters that you would like to see. Like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and also tell me down below what do you think of this JOJO celebration, and subscribe if you would see more. Have a nice day, goodbye.